All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. For this third Soundtrap assignment number 3 that we're going to be going over, we're going to be recreating the first 60 measures, the first minute or two of With or Without You by YouTube. So you want to go to Google Classroom, open up Soundtrap assignment number 3, and we're going to get started on breaking down this assignment. All right, so when we get the program open, we should have everything looking like this. I recorded the bass line for the song through my amp, and I set that on the track for you. And so the first part we're going to add to the song is the drums in the beginning. So you're going to click on the little drum icon on the left side of your screen. That will open up this instrument at the bottom of the screen. Click on Patterns, and we're going to insert the drum pattern from the beginning. So we've got this pattern going on. All right, and the way I would figure that out is by listening to the song, because this is more of an instructional video. I'm just going to go through everything as quickly as I can so that you can just follow the steps. Once I get this pattern as it looks on the screen, what I'm going to do is close this, click on the loop button, and when I click, I'm going to keep my click pressed down and drag and extend this loop all the way, not to the very end, but you see there's these blocks that the bass line I recorded is in 4 measure chunks. So you want to leave 3 chunks empty. That's the bridge part where the drum pattern changes. Now this next part, we're going to put a drum loop right here, and it's going to be a 2 measure loop in the bridge. So what we need to do, when we click on the pattern thing again, you'll see that the loop is at the beginning. So you click on it and you're going to drag it all the way up here to measure 49. And the first pattern is the same. So we've got that first measure of this 2 measure pattern is the same. Okay, so pause when you need to so that you can get this the same on yours. This assignment, you're doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. So click and drag that over there. And now this second pattern is a little bit different. So one thing that you can also do, you can go to a website like Ultimate Guitar that has a pro version of this song, and I can look at the drum part during the bridge and I can see that it's a little bit different. Boom, 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 So that is one thing that kind of speeds this process up sometimes if you need to do it in a hurry. So I'm just going to look in this second measure of the pattern. Okay, here I need to add some sounds because the tom drums are happening. So I need high tom, medium tom, and low tom. And I'm going to go like this, because that mimics what's going on here. Okay, so I've got these 2 measures. I'm going to click and drag to select both of them. Hit Control-C to copy. Move the cursor right here, Control-V to paste. And paste it just like that so that I've now got my drum part completed. Now I'm going to add a new track, and I'm going to add loops. So actually, I want to click on the purple notes up here. I want to click on guitar. And I'm going to scroll down to acoustic strum C and drag that onto the track. I'm going to reduce the length by clicking on the loop and dragging left, and then clicking on the handle down here. And I want to make this 1 measure, so that's 1 box. Then I want to click on Edit, Transpose, and select D. The chord progression for this song, again, I can take a shortcut and look at a already created chart, D, A, B minor, and G. So in the next chord, we're going to take that C1 again, reduce the length down to one measure, change, transpose to A, and then B minor is next. Here we don't have to do as much work, reduce the length. And then last but not least, G, reduce the length. Okay, so now you'll know you've done it right when those 4 squares are the same length as the bass part that I already recorded. So we're going to select all 4 of those, copy, set your cursor right here by the 9, and then Control V to paste, and paste it as many times as the length of the song. There we go. Last thing you're going to do is in the beginning, click Edit and fade in the drum part. Click on the handle up there and extend the length 4 measures. That's the basic requirements for this assignment, those 3 tracks. At this point, you can pause the video if you want. I'm going to show you how to add all the other parts, the extra parts, if you want to. All right, so the first part I'm going to add is the synthesizer part at the beginning that sounds like this. All right, it's just the same thing the entire time. So to add that, I'm going to click on Add New Track, Piano and Keyboards, and I'm going to do this via the piano roll. Okay, now I'm using my knowledge of notes on the guitar. The 10th fret on the 1st string in tablature, I know that this note all the way up here is D. And if this is D4, then this is D5. Okay, so I've got D, and then this note would be D4 down here, so we're going D, D, this 10th note right here on the B string is going to be A and then F sharp. So we have D, D, A, F is the arpeggio that's repeated throughout. Okay, and the first time I did this, I did have to do a little bit more guess and check. On my grid, I want to make sure that I'm doing 16th notes, so I'm going to zoom in and make sure I have to bring my cursor all the way back over here. I want D5 as my first note right there, and that's still too long, so I'm going to zoom in again, and I'm going to reduce the length, and then the next note is going to be D down here. Okay, these look like 8th notes at this point because they look like the same length as the 8th notes up there. So I still need to zoom in and make these shorter. Here we go. Now I'm working with 16th notes. And then A is right here, and then F sharp. It should let me drag it down. There we go. G flat is the same as F sharp. So you guys know that you can click on the notes and drag them left, right, up, and down to get them into the correct position, okay? I'm going to click on the arrow here, and now I can copy these 4 notes because they're repeated. I'm going to set my cursor right there and paste, paste, paste. So it's that 1 measure repeating pattern. Copy this whole thing now and paste, paste, paste. For the entire song it happens. Actually, an easier way to do this, I'm hitting Control Z to undo what I just did, is to click on the loop button and extend the length. I'm going to close this, zoom out so that it makes it a little bit easier. And we've got this piano arpeggio happening the whole song, so I'm just going to drag it out for the length of the whole song. Take a sip of coffee while I'm doing that. Oh, there we go. There's the end. Okay. So this is also a fade in at the beginning over the course of the first 4 measures. Extend it there. If I listen to it now at the beginning, that volume's a little loud, and I don't really think it's a piano at the beginning. So to change the instrument sound, open the instrument menu here, click on this, and it's kind of a synth sound. It sounds, we can hear some different things. So I actually found it underneath keyboards, pitched percussion, vibraphone sounds pretty good to me. So let's listen to what that sounds like. Sounds pretty close, right? So now the next part that I'm going to add is what happens at the very beginning, which is that guitar lead. So for this, I've got my guitar amp connected, and when I plug in to the program, I just have to connect my amp with the USB cable from the amp to the program, and I click Add New Track, and I click Guitar Bass Amp. Okay, and you see my guitar amp Katana comes up, and for this part I'm gonna have to pause the recording for a second and do this because I can't record audio with the video and do it at the same time. So we're gonna pause for a second, come back, and I'm gonna show you, excuse me, how I recorded it. All right, so we're back and I've recorded the guitar lead part. You can see that there's this new purple track down here. Now the first thing I want to do is just listen to how that sounds, how the recording sounds just on its own, and I want to get the effect of what they were doing. So they had a lot more delay, so there's a lot of amp sounds and effects that we can add, and what I want to add is I want to add more delay to this sound. I want to turn up the time and mix on the delay, and then I want to listen back to hear how it sounds. I'm going to turn the reverb up a little bit too. That adds some echo. Turn up some of the mid. All right. So now the next part I need to do, and I can keep playing with that sound. The next part I need to do is hear if it rhythmically is in line with the other part. Now, likely it's not, because when we record a live instrument or our voice, we get latency, which is a lag. The sound recording happens a millisecond or milliseconds later than how we're recording it with the music. So we now have to manually adjust this track and move it in line with the other loops and other tracks that I've created. So we're going to listen. should start right when the rhythm and guitar come in. And it sounds pretty close to me. It sounds maybe just a little bit off. So I'm going to zoom in like almost as far as I can. And you can see that the sound wave here starts slightly later, right? I want it to start right at the beginning. So what we're going to have to do is go here, and we're going to have to reduce the length of all this dead time in there. So I might want to zoom back out for a second so I can make that a little bit easier. All right. So I'm going to reduce it to right there. And then you can see that there's a slight lag there. And so what I can do, make sure you click snap to grid off, and then I'm going to zoom back into like microscopic length so that I can really, you know, think about this like surgery, and I'm really trying to look closely at the sound and make sure it's lined up, and drag it so that this is starting right there where the other two sound waves are starting. And then let's listen from the beginning. So interestingly enough, the program actually has a Rock Edge Has No Name amplifier patch that emulates the Edge from the U2. So just playing around, I found that, and it sounds a lot better. It sounds a lot more accurate. And so then the last part that I can add to this, now that I've got pretty much everything going on, would be the vocals. And so I am just going to use the regular computer mic to do this. And again, I'll just show you how this process works. Pause it. All right, so we're back for this last part. I recorded the audio for the vocals for the first 60 measures. And the last thing I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to calibrate where I want this audio to be. So I have to listen back. It should start right here at measure 12, and you can see it started a little bit later than that. So I'm going to have to, first of all, just snip this so that it's at least right there where my line is. And now I'm going to super zoom in, and I can see this is where the first sound is, so I should just be able to kind of listen now and manually adjust. See the stone set in your... All right, so I had a few issues there with recording the sound, but I'm back and I'm ready to go. The hardest part is it picking up some of the background noise and getting it to isolate. You definitely want to use headphones to record the sound. So I'm going to listen back, and I think I'm probably pretty close to where I need to be, where the audio starts here in measure 13. So let's just listen starting from right about here and see where we're at. It starts a little bit late, so I think I'm just going to drag it a little bit and see how that sounds. Now that's too early, so I want to move it over a little bit. It's a guess and check process. Okay, it's really close. I just want to zoom in as far as I can, or close to as far as I can. And I want to move it a little bit this way because it sounded like it was like speeding up. Yeah, it's still a little early, so let's move it this way. Close enough. And you know, this is really, the recording process is something that you would have to spend a long time doing, because look, I spent about 20 plus minutes on this right now, and I've done this several times, but you know, even good musicians have to go through this process several times to get something exactly how it should be sounding. And then there's a whole team of engineers that go through and edit this stuff. But I just wanted to show you more of the full scope. Again, you only have to do those first 3 tracks, but if you want to expand and do the whole song, feel free to, and email me with questions. Good luck, have fun.